now to Russia's war on Ukraine, and Ukraine says its forces are gaining ground in the counteroffensive against Russia. President Vladimir Zelensky says 2 settlements in the south and 1 in the eastern Donetsk region have been liberated without identifying the exact locations. Ukrainian authorities have also released images of a flag. They say it is in the town in Kherson province, which has been occupied by Russia since the very early stages of the war. We also have video of a bridge in that region being shelled by the Ukrainian side. Moscow uses that bridge to bring troops across the river. Ukraine is keeping much of this campaign under wraps to preserve the element of surprise. CNN's Melissa Bell is in Kiev right now and joins us live. Good to see you, Melissa. So President Zelensky says Ukrainian flags have been put in places where they should be. How much momentum is there right now in this counteroffensive?
This is really a counteroffensive that is going to take time, and that's something else we're hearing from Ukrainian officials. As you say, we've been hearing a little bit about what they say they've managed to achieve in terms of taking on the infrastructure, crucially those bridges across the Dnieper River that would have allowed so far Russian forces to bring both men and equipment across to defend Kherson in the face of their counteroffensive, but very little in terms of actual territorial gains until yesterday, where that town of Vysokopilia and that flag was shown and tweeted by one of his aides, now saying that that's where that had been. Now that's because the idea of this counteroffensive, they explain, is really to try and degrade the Russian military capabilities, to take on the key infrastructure, to grind them down, as one official put it last week, in a much slower way than perhaps many Ukrainians would like to see. They had never been that ambitious in terms of making fast territorial gains, partly, of course, Lynda, because they don't want to get people's hopes up, partly, of course, because of the formidable forces and machine that they're taking on. Bear in mind that it is much harder to take back land you've lost than it is to defend it to begin with. Now, one of the key aims of launching this counteroffensive now was, of course, to put pressure on Russian forces, to force them to try and resupply Kherson at the expense of the Eastern Front, but also, and perhaps most importantly, to try and prevent the holding of referendum in those newly taken parts of Ukraine, so places like Kherson region, Zaporizhia region, in fact, all those regions that allow from Crimea all the way to the Russian border a land bridge to be created. And what we've been hearing today from the head or the deputy head of the Russian-backed administration of the Kherson region, that counteroffensive, the violence, the fighting has prevented or put on hold for the time being the plans that they had for the referendum that was going to be held there on joining the Russian Federation. So just on that front alone, some sense of achievement that this counteroffensive on the part of Ukrainians is bearing its fruit, at least when it comes to that, Lynda.
And Melissa, late last week, UN inspectors arrived at Europe's largest nuclear plant, which is staffed by Ukrainians, controlled by Russia. What have they found so far? Where's the investigation at?
Well, we were going to hear more, we believe, tomorrow from the initial report of the 6 IAEA inspectors that arrived with Rafael Grossi last Thursday, to then stay on. But as a reminder of just how urgent it is to figure out what's going on in the plant and how urgent it was to get UN watchdog inspectors inside it, there's been more shelling that has today led to the switching off of what was, Lynda, the last remaining power supply between the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant and the Ukrainian electricity grid. Now that's important not just because it meant that temporarily, because of the shelling and a fire, that line had to be disconnected, but also because it isn't simply the energy coming out of the plant that matters, but of course the electricity going into it. Now what we've also been hearing today are reassuring words about the fact that because the 6th nuclear reactor, the last functioning one, is still up and running, it is able to provide enough electricity to the plant to cool the reactors. And of course that is a massive relief. You'll remember that back on August 25th, they'd been down to generators, and that's when President Zelensky had warned Europe that we were just a step away from a nuclear meltdown. So the idea there from Rafael Grossi and his men that by the very fact of their presence, we're able to get more accurate information. And yet it hasn't been enough, Lynda, to prevent that shelling, which continues to cause extremely worrying damage to the infrastructure and most specifically to those power lines, and something, of course, the whole world is watching very carefully, Lynda.
Yeah, they certainly are. All right, Melissa Bell, first in Kiev, thanks very much.